Donald Trump's best week ever just got even better. A big win at the Supreme Court and a big loss for rogue liberal judges. Small ball district judges are no longer allowed to stop the president's agenda. Liberal lawyers can't sue every time Trump acts and get an Obama-Biden judge to issue a nationwide injunction. The ruling was 6-3. Trump stopped by the briefing room to take a victory lap.
Well, this was a big one, wasn't it? This was a big decision. This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law. It gives power back to people that should have it, including Congress, including the presidency. And it only takes bad power away from judges. It really doesn't take power. It takes bad power, sick power, and unfair power. And it's really going to be, this is a very monumental decision.
Bondi was there, and she said the nation just got a lot safer.
You should all feel safer now that President Trump can deport all of these gangs, and not one district court judge can think they're an emperor over this administration and his executive powers and why the people of the United States elected him.
Among other things, rogue judges were stopping Trump from eliminating birthright citizenship. So after this ruling, birthright citizenship is getting fast-tracked to the Supreme Court. Justices hear the case in October.
Thanks for this decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation.
Lawfare is officially dead. Frivolous lawsuits were the only thing slowing down the Trump agenda. With Democrats out of power, radical lawyers were the only resistance. Finally, a random judge in Maryland isn't more powerful than the President of the United States.
This is a big win for President Trump.
Such a big win for the Trump administration. And not just Donald John Trump, the person, but the office of the president. Whoever comes next is going to get the benefit of this ruling, too.
DOJ cuts, so-called anchor babies, sanctuary cities, banning child sex change surgeries, all get free and fair hearings at the Supreme Court immediately. The Supreme Court just admitted Trump wasn't abusing his power. Out-of-control judges were. They lost the case and the moral high ground. More good news for America. The stock market just hit an all-time high today. Sorry, Panikins. And top economists are confessing that Trump was right about tariffs.
Mr. President, a leading global economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked, because I've been going through abuse for years on this.
But Mr.
Because as you know, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, no inflation whatsoever.
It didn't end there. Gas prices just hit 4-year lows right before summer. So cheap that Congress can drive to work next week to watch Trump sign his big, beautiful bill.
Everyone working together, Leader Thune, Speaker Johnson, with President Trump's assistants, have been able to move narrow majorities forward. And I think we're going to be able to bring this home. The president will be signing the bill on July 4th.
You know what goes well with beer, barbecue, and fireworks? No tax on tips. Trump isn't even taking credit for it. He's giving it to a beautiful waitress.
I will never say good-looking waitress, because looks don't matter anymore, you know, in our modern society. She happened to be beautiful, but I won't say that. I won't mention that. But nevertheless, a waitress came over, and I said, "How are you doing?" She said, "Not good, sir." "Why?" "The government is killing me on tips." And she looked at me, she said, "Sir, there should be no tax on tips." I said, "Say it again." "There should be no tax on tips." I said, "That's the coolest thing I've ever heard."
Now, the media wouldn't let him leave. Donald Trump was in the briefing room for an hour. That's more time in one day than Biden was in the briefing room his whole term.
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it.
He didn't stop there. Today, he signed another peace deal. this time in Africa. Rwanda and the Congo came to the White House to end their 30-year war. The peace treaty was brokered by Trump and Rubio, and the Africans say Biden just hung up the phones on them.
Many American presidents overlooked this conflict. They didn't do nothing. Even myself, I covered President Biden's administration. I pressed many times about this conflict. People are dying in Congo. This country has so much potential, but they need help because this war is destroying the country.
Right.
They never gave me any answer.
I shouldn't say this because it's politically incorrect. She said, she's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I said it anyway. But you are beautiful, and you're beautiful inside.
Soon, Africa will be calling him daddy, too. Of course, Trump got a little something from the deal, the M word.
Was able to get them together and sell it. And not only that, we're getting for the United States a lot of the mineral rights from the Congo as part of it. They're so honored to be here. They never thought they'd be coming to, look, this is a very tough part of the world. They never thought, they were just telling me, they never thought they'd ever be coming to the White House.
It was a historic day at the White House. But Canada was in the room, and they tried to make it all about themselves.
It's not Canada. This is about Canada.
Why not? Why not Canada, by the way?
Why?
I mean,
because this is about a different subject right now. This is right now actually a much more important subject. We just ended a war that was going on for 30 years where 6 million people died. So don't ask me a trade question on Canada.
The only way Canada can get our attention, 51st state, or we can't hear you. We're too busy doing deals.
We've had a big week. We've had a big week. We've had a lot of victories this week. NATO was a tremendous victory. The war was a tremendous. Look, we were talking about this for 30 years, about Iran being nuclear. And all I said is it will not be nuclear, and it's not going to be nuclear. And, I want to give credit to a lot of people, and most importantly to our great military. Boy, they put out that fire. Once that happened, once those bombs got dropped, that war was over. That war was over. But I just want to compliment them.
You know who isn't having a big week? The Ayatollah. He's hiding in his cave, and he's lying through his teeth.
I'm going to respond to the Ayatollah's statement yesterday that we won the war. Oh, God, we won the war. And I said, look, you're a man of great faith, a man who's highly respected in his country. You have to tell the truth. You got beat to hell. As you know, their sites were obliterated. They're very evil nuclear sites. Now has been proven. They hit it right down in the spot, 52,000 feet. Think of this dark, no moon. You couldn't see a thing. And they hit the refrigerator door, as they say. That's the size of a target. And overwhelmingly, and it's amazing what was done. We're the only ones that could have done it.
Donald Trump says he's the only thing keeping the Ayatollah alive. Quote, I wish the leadership of Iran would realize that you often get more with honey than you do with vinegar. Peace. Democrats are singing the same tune as the Ayatollah. They say our bombs don't work, and they don't say thank you.
They're just finding something to attack them. I mean, that's it. There is no position. There is no goal. There is no set of ideas. It is just, what can we find a way to attack Trump? How can we say that he's a failure or what he did is not a success? Or I just, at this point, you start to lose credibility when on every single instance, you're just saying, nope, not good. Nope, not good. Nope, not good.
Trump gave a beautiful waitress credit for no tax on tips. Why can't Democrats give him credit for the Iranian hit? The party split. Some are calling the president a war criminal, and others are calling him an American hero.
I don't agree with the president of the United States. Do not, on many, many issues. But you have to admire that when the United States says all options are on the table, he just proved all options on the table. And China and Russia and even North Korea have to step back because that has a level of deterrence. So the blast radius of this goes much farther.
Democrats have to face the music. There's only one commander-in-chief, and he conducted quite a week. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.